sugar. Oh, honey, honey, you are my candy girl, and you got me wanting you. Oh, honey, oh, sugar, sugar.
Well, hello, gang.
Hey, hey.
Hey.
It seems like we just saw you all yesterday.
I think we did.
Yes, we did. We did. And yeah, we had a great special episode yesterday, our Black Lives Matter episode. It was great. We thank you guys for joining us and contributing your commentary. Also, thank you so much for your feedback. Tonight, our special guest coming on in a little bit, we have Mr. Ron Dante. This is episode 12 of That's My Story, where we talk to some of your favorite musicians, some of your favorite producers and arrangers, and we let them give their story of their journey in the music industry. Again, if you don't know me by now, my name is Jerry Midas Hardison. Joining me, as usual, are my co-hosts, singer-entertainer from the Honeycomb, Miss Shelly Clark White, also the wife of Mr. Verdine White, the bassist of Earth, Wind, and Fire. We have a musician, writer, arranger, producer, Mr. Ken Knox, joining us. And we want to take a minute to give a special shout out to one of our former co-hosts, Mr. Brandon Stevens. He had some other business obligations that came up, and he wasn't able to contribute in the capacity in which he liked to for the continuation of the show. And he does support us 100%, and we appreciate him. He's rooting us on from the audience.
Yeah,
so,
you know,
guys,
Brandon,
how y'all doing tonight?
Well, let me say something about Brandon right quick. Brandon is very creative. He's responsible for the opener of this show that we have. He is also he loves music and he loves the history of music. So he was very instrumental in being a part of the crew, and we miss him. You know,
absolutely. Yeah. So even when I was doing the intro music, you know, he did the visuals and everything, but he made it. He was a part of that, helping me get it tracked out into the computer. So we definitely appreciate him 120%.
He's a great
Brandon, if you're watching, he's great.
Hi, Shelly.
Guy.
Hey, how are you there? I wanted to give a shout out to our guest last night who made our show very exciting, Jabril Huff.
Jabril Huff, yes.
Jabril. Yeah, we had a lot of feedback on that show because of his commentary. So thanks, Jabril.
I call him my little bro.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I spoke with him a little bit off and on Facebook today. I told him he's got to eventually make it out to a show and hang out with us. It had been a while since we got a chance to talk and everything, so it was good to chat with him yesterday.
Yes,
that's right.
And I think our audience love what they saw last night as well. You know, I think they learned something. You know.
Yes, indeed.
I know I did.
Oh yeah,
it was great conversation, and much needed. And we thank all of you for tuning in, and especially thank you for doubling up with us this week. So we've had our hands full producing 2 shows for you guys, and we appreciate. I'm looking here. I see a lot of names that are familiar just from our following over these 12 episodes. So we appreciate you guys so much, you know, from the United States, over across the water, the UK, even France and Spain and other countries. You know, we appreciate you for all of your unwavering support.
Right.
Yes, it is.
You know, I had to say this right quick.
Sure.
Brandon thanking us for the shout out. You know, that's our colleague. You know, he's also a member of the Chairmen of the Board.
Yeah, member of the Chairmen of the Board, yes.
You know, and there's his mom right there, and you have a great son.
Yeah. Hey, Miss Rose, I see my mom is on. Wes is on. Wes Aston, how you doing, buddy? My sister's on. So I guess without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, while you guys are getting situated, I guess everybody's ready to go.
Yes.
Without any further ado, we're going to bring on American singer, songwriter, session vocalist, and record producer, Mr. Ron Dante. Make some noise at home.
Hey, Ron.
Hey.
Ron.
Hey.
Hey, Ron.
Hey,
How
Ron.
you doing, sir?
I'm great. Good to be here with you.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Sure.
We were speaking in our virtual green room prior to coming on, and we were just discussing, how we as musicians are still on semi-quarantine. How have you been staying occupied during these last few months?
Well, I'm going a little crazy, right? Because I had all these shows booked, and now they're all gone. They went up in a puff of smoke, and I've been here, trying to keep myself from going nuts. I'm working on a new CD that'll be out in September. I'll tell you about that a little later. Trying to keep myself. I actually was a guest host on Sirius Radio.
Oh, nice.
They gave me a couple of hours to play my favorite songs from the 60s. So
Nice.
that was kind of fun being a DJ. So I'm trying
Yeah.
to stay healthy, trying to stay healthy, take vitamins, exercise a little,
You're doing the right things, and
because we got to be ready when things open up. We have to be ready, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes, indeed. I agree 100%. Even with us doing this this show, That's My Story show, is a way to diversify ourselves, to stay relevant, and try out a new venture. It's never nothing wrong with gaining a new skill set.
Yeah. It keeps you young.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tried something new. I keep challenging myself every year. What am I going to do differently this year? And it works.
Nice.
The music keeps us young. That's the important.
It does.
Absolutely.
It does.
I say it all the time.
Yeah. We're all connected with the music. That's the nicest thing.
Yes, I agree. Well, we'll get into our discussion for tonight. So you grew up in Staten Island, New York. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about your childhood and how you got involved with music.
Well, I grew up in an Italian-American family. A lot of singing around there. A lot of at a wedding, everywhere you went, there was a little singing. So my dad loved certain artists that he used to play in the 50s. So I discovered music early. Like 5 or 6, my dad's playing all these records and things, like the pop hits of the day. Anywhere from Elvis to the Platters, which was one of my favorite groups. And I love Staten Island because I had the opportunity to play guitar. I actually, when I was about 12, I fell out of a tree. I was playing Tarzan, and I fell out of a tree and I busted my arm up. And it said, it's going to be stiff the rest of your life unless you exercise it. So you can either squeeze the ball or play the guitar. So Elvis was around. I said, I'll play a guitar. My dad got me a little guitar. We plugged it into my Webcore tape recorder. We didn't even have an amplifier. We had a tape recorder. I plugged it in, learned to play guitar, and that started me on the music journey. Of course, Staten Island was a great place to grow up in. It was isolated from Manhattan, but you could get to Manhattan on a ferry boat. So you could get to the big city and I did when I was about 16. I started to get to the big city and audition for people.
Yeah, well, that's very interesting that you had I guess what would be considered an accident, and that's what led to you picking up a guitar and starting your music career. I think that's very interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So Ron,
yes,
anybody that knows me knows that I love parody. I shoot videos back and forth with friends. And for those that don't understand, a parody is like a humorous or satirical imitation, usually of something that's very serious or serious piece of work, literature or song or something of that nature. When we think of parody, we think of the movie Spaceballs or Airplane, right? Or Scary Movie. These are all parodies, and song-wise, it would be something like Weird Al Yankovic, right? Or even Key and Peele, and of course, I love Randy Rainbow. He's a favorite of mine. And I was first introduced to parody in high school when we did a musical called The Mikado, and it was set in a Japanese setting. But it was really a takeoff on British government and how cruel they are and how dysfunctional they are. But you were doing parody long before anybody I know. So how did you get into that? And then we're going to run a video.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, it's so funny. You know, you work hard as a singer, right? And you want your first breakthrough to be like vocally really there, right? So I had these two friends. I worked at Don Kirshner's publishing company, and we were two writer friends, Danny Jordan and Tommy Wynn. Danny had an uncle who wrote hits. He wrote Itsy Bitsy
Right.
Teeny Teeny Yellow Polka Dot Bikini.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
You know, he came up with a parody song of Leader of the Pack by the Shangri-Las, and he called his nephew Danny. He said, "Bring Ronnie over and Tommy, and I'm going to put you on these tracks." And it's called Leader of the Laundromat instead of Leader of the Pack.
It's hilarious. It's hilarious.
It was like we did 5 different sections. I never heard it. That's me on the bottom with my Gretsch.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's Danny Jordan in the middle and Tommy Wynn on top with the
Nice.
Detergents. They give us a name, the Detergents. So the first hit record I ever had was by the Detergents, Leader of the Laundromat. But it was a hit because it was on Roulette Records. It was on Roulette Records, which was owned by the mob. And they told us, "Kids, you'll never get a dime from the sales of this." Because we did 2 books anyway. You did 2 books. They said that to me. Morris Levy was a big record company president. You know, very you've heard of him.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we went out on the road. We had like a top 10 record, and we toured with Dick Clark's Caravan of Stars. But that was the first record, you know. And it was funny. Leader of the Laundromat gets played occasionally because it's, you know, it's kind of obscure, but it was a good parody. It was funny. All the Jews loved it. So that was Leader of the Laundromat.
Nice.
Well,
Nice.
our producer unearthed one of your parodies, and this one is called 007. You remember that
All
one?
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see.
We're going to show that one.
Up each night for 007. Wearing dresses that are much too tight for 007. Every night, where does she go? Downtown to the picture show. She waits in line for an hour or so she can sit in the very first row. In the first row of the movie, eating popcorn, smell the perfume, looking at him making out up there.
Wow.
Great stuff. Great stuff. Taking me back a little bit.
Yeah. That's one of the early videos.
Right?
It's like looking at my baby pictures. You know, I was only like 18 years old, man, on Hullabaloo. That was a TV show. for Hullabaloo.
Oh yeah. I used to love that show.
Yeah.
I used to love this show. So in 1969, Ron, you had a group called the Cufflinks.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Look, y'all smooth. You
Look
guys
at
are smooth
them.
right there.
Yeah.
Oh, a lot of smoothness going on. And
Do you know that wasn't the real group though? They went out on the road, but
okay,
I was all the voices of the Cufflinks.
nice.
Like
Okay.
20 voices on it. You know what it's like. You overdub your voice. You do
Right.
harmonies, right? So I made it sound like, you know, the association or the grassroots.
Yes.
And when they wanted somebody to go out on the road, I said no. I said, you know, I've got this other group I'm working with that I've got to stay in town. So they sent
Right.
out these guys, and they did a good job. They went out all over the country.
So you guys had a hit record called Tracy, I believe. Is that right?
Yeah.
Was it about anybody? Was it written about anybody in particular?
You know, it was written by the guys who wrote, you know, The Laundromat.
Oh my God.
They're the same guys, right? They came to me. They said, "We've got this song, Tracy." I don't know who they wrote it about. Maybe it was Spencer Tracy, the actor. I don't know. It was somebody. But
Yeah.
you know, there's a lot of Tracys out there now that would know
Yeah.
the song. A lot more.
Wow.
About. Yeah, I see them at the shows.
Wow.
Cool stuff.
You know what? We do have a video of that as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
You ready?
Yes. Yes.
Tracy Tracy, day after day, when you're this way, I get a love and feeling. Come with me, don't say no, hold me close, Tracy, never let go.
Tracy, you're gonna be happy with me. It was a very happy song, right?
Yeah, it's happy stuff, man.
I was always confused. Would you consider that as being bubblegum?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
Bubblegum is a little more simplistic in terms
Okay.
of there were no hits above the third fret. You know what I'm saying? No hits above we didn't have the Farfisa organ in it. Tracy was a complicated song. It has 3 key changes in it.
Oh,
So
wow.
Oh,
It was written by a very competent musician. The fellow who wrote it, Paul Vance, and Lee Pockris was the name of the guy. And he was a classical guy. He could play everything, so we had to tame him, to say don't make so many chords. But he put 3 key changes in it anyway.
Your voice is amazing on that.
Oh, thank you. I had a lot of fun doing it. I made up the arrangement like some of you guys probably do the same thing. I made it up on the session, with
Nice.
falsettos.
Wow.
Right.
But it comes to you, right? It just like you pull it down from God. You say, oh yeah, just go with it. And that's why I had so much fun singing it. You can hear the fun in the voice.
yeah, cool
Nice.
deal. Speaking of Tracy, Ron, looks like Tracy was in the top 10 of Billboard's Hot 100 also for 3 weeks in October of 1969.
Yeah.
And you also had another hit that was in the Billboard Top 100 at that particular time by the name of Sugar Sugar by the Archies.
Yeah.
Give us a little background on how that. Yeah, there we go. Hey, Ron is prepared.
I'm ready.
Yes, sir. Love it.
Entertainment, right?
Yes. Give us a little backstory of how that gig came about as far as doing the cartoon, the Archies and whatnot.
It was a lot of fun. As a singer, you just want to sing, right?
Yeah.
So when people call or you hear of a job, you go for it. That's what I was doing in 1969. I was saying yes to everything.
Mhm.
Anything if you said, Ron, can you do this? I'd say yes, and then I'd learn how to do it.
Mhm.
But Don Kirshner called me, and he was a very famous music publisher in the 60s. He had a rock concert in the 70s. Of course, he did like 8 years. So he's a very good music man. I had been signed to him as a kid, as a writer. When I was about 17, I signed with him.
Wow.
We lost touch. And then in 1968, 69, he called. He said he's doing this cartoon show. And a friend of mine told me they were looking for the lead singer. So I immediately went over to RCA Victor Records studio in New York, and I said, let me sing one of the songs. So I sang the song called Bang Shang a Lang. It was real fun. And they said, all right, you got the job. And it was great. It was like I knew that the crew was really good. The writer, producer was Jeff Barry.
Okay.
Jeff had written maybe 30, 40 hits in the 60s, from Be My Baby, Hanky Panky, The Do. Then He Kissed Me. I mean, he wrote a bunch of hits with his wife, Ellie Greenwich. So Jeff, the producer, writer, I said, well, between Don Kirshner and Jeff Barry, this is really gold. A
no-brainer.
No matter what the deal was, I took it. I didn't care. You know what it's like. Yeah, so that's why I became the Archies. I was proud of it. I grew up on Archie comics as a kid. I read a lot of those comics, so I knew the characters.
Yeah,
That's right.
And they're really famous today. They've got their own TV show called Riverdale on the Fox Network, which is a big success. It uses the Archie characters and stuff. But
Got you.
It was fun.
Yeah. Well, we do have a video of Sugar Sugar.
All right.
And now, the Riverdale Carnival presents the Archies. Okay, everybody, here we go with our new hit record, Sugar, Sugar!
Sugar, oh honey, honey, you are my candy girl, and you got me wanting you, honey.
Fantastic. I just want to say before we move on that was the #1 selling record in the U.S. in 1969.
Unbelievable, huh?
Thanks.
Yes,
Mike.
indeed.
Yeah, great year was 69.
And the band couldn't get the pocket on that.
Wow.
They couldn't get it. So the Andy Kim, who you're going to have on as another guest, great friend of mine, who wrote the song with Jeff Barry, went out in the studio, started to play his guitar, and his pick broke. Nobody had it. So he played it with a matchbook on his guitar. It flapping, right? And that was the pocket and the sound of Sugar Sugar, which it sold 6 million copies that year. I mean, I'm not kidding. We're not making it up. They sold a lot of copies. Internationally, it was #1 in every country.
Every country.
Every country. It was one of those international. They didn't care about the words. They just heard, they heard the sound, you know?
Yeah.
So it's pretty good. We lost Midas, I'm sorry to say.
Yeah, we lost Midas.
I'm coming.
He'll get back.
Coming.
Jerry.
Uh-oh.
And now he's a star. Oh.
I'll speak for Midas right quick. That song was covered by a lot of different artists.
Yes. I mean,
it was
tell me about it.
Groups, the Sands, Bob Marley, Tom Jones, Gladys Knight.
Yeah.
My ex-boss, Ike and Tina Turner, Sarah Dash,
Nice.
Olivia Newton-John, and the hit was on soul singer Wilson Pickett.
I'm back.
Yes.
Hey, Midas.
You know,
Hey.
that was a funky,
right?
That was a good groove for Wilson Pickett.
Wasn't it? 1970, I think.
Yeah, that was a nice record. Very nicely done. Yeah, we were covered by a lot of people. The writers were very, very happy.
Right.
Very happy.
It's strange. Everybody, I would ask and say, we're having Ron Dante on. You remember Sugar Sugar? It didn't matter the age. They knew the lyrics all the way through almost.
Yeah.
And so that's what kind of effect that had on people.
It gets played on Disney radio, and it gets played on oldies radio all the time. So kids from 6 to 60 know the song, thank goodness. And
right.
I think our music is from the golden era. Yours too will be around always. You know,
right.
It has legs. It'll last. You know?
Absolutely.
We're fortunate because I think all of us, Chairman, Honeycomb, Earth, Wind, and Fire, it's all timeless. Like you said, 6 to 60.
Yeah.
There you go.
Or 9 to 90.
You guys, I don't know if you guys answered this while I was MIA, but real quick question while we're on the subject of Sugar Sugar. Shout out to our friend Neil Dugans over in the UK. He had a question. Didn't the late Andy Kim have something to do with Sugar Sugar?
That's
right.
That's Andy Gibb.
Oh, Andy Gibb.
Oh, Andy Gibb.
Yeah, he passed away. Andy Kim is a Canadian, and he's doing just great. You'll see Andy in a few weeks. Yeah, he's great. He'll be very interested to know that they think he passed away. He'll be right out here saying, "I'm here."
Indeed.
Yeah.
Well, after that, Ron, you had your first solo album. Is that correct? It was a song entitled "Builds You Up."
Yeah, let me bring you up. Yeah,
build you up. That was produced by your guy Jeff Barry again, right?
And written by Andy Kim and Jeff Barry. It was a very cool record. It's a very cool record. I was very proud of that album.
Well, we have a video on it. It's called "Let Me Bring You Up," and it actually sounds like possibly there's a kalimba playing in there, which of course my legendary late brother-in-law was famous for bringing it into pop and soul music.
Okay,
that's right.
Wind and Fire, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Kalimba.
So we'll see that video. Let me bring you up.
Higher. Oh, higher. Oh, higher. Higher. Let me love away your sadness somewhere up above the madness, baby. Won't you let me bring you up? I've been wanting so to know you just
Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
That was a great groove Jeff
Nice.
Barry came up with. You're right about
Nice.
that sound. You're right about that, Shelly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun doing that.
That was a Maurice White figured out how to make it electric. He took it apart and and that's how he got that sound.
Yeah, definitely ethnic.
I have a story about Maurice White.
Yes?
I have a story about him putting him together with my artist Barry Manilow to write a song together. I always wanted him to write with Maurice. Finally, I got them together and they wrote something called Bermuda Triangle, which was we produced it. It was on one of Barry's hit albums. But I always said, you should write more with him.
Wow.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned Barry because Barry was one of my favorite artists. I love Mandy.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
So how was it that the two of you got together?
Well, at the time I was singing commercials and Barry was writing commercials.
Okay.
State Farm is there, like a good neighbor, State Farm.
Yeah.
And anyway, I got booked. I was a jingle singer for many, many years. You know what it's like. You go in, you sing the song, you make McDonald's sound good. So this date was with this guy, Barry Manilow, who was the arranger and the writer of the jingle. So get this. This is the background group to sing this commercial. It was Barry Manilow, myself, Melissa Manchester, and Valerie Simpson.
Oh, nice.
So we had this great sound going, boys and girls, and we sang. It was a Pepsi product. I forget what it was. It was a test. But afterwards, Barry said to me, I know you've been, you've had some hit records. You're a producer. He said, I would like to be a soloist.
Oh, wow.
Would you listen to some of my songs? And I said, sure. I said, who are you working with? He said, I'm working with this girl, Bette Midler. He got an album out. It looks like it's going to be a hit. Right? Yeah, but it was. All his arrangements made it a hit. So years later, I met with him, and he played me some of his songs. He played me "Could It Be Magic?"
Yes.
A bunch of people, including Donna Summer, right? So I love that song. I said, this will make a really, really important record. Sometimes you do it. It's going to be a pop record, and it's going to be great.
Right.
It can be important, right? Stop traffic. So in the studio, we made the records. I took them into a showcase, and we did a showcase at the Continental Baths in New York City, which was like a men's bathhouse, which was really crazy. Guys throwing their towels out.
Oh, no.
I didn't know what it was, but Barry said this is where Bette Midler got her start. So we invited Ahmet Ertegun from Atlantic Records and Larry Bell from Bell Records, and they both wanted him as an artist. And I told Barry, let's sign with Bell Records. So that was the beginning of our collaboration that went on for about 10 years. He was a very loyal artist. When things got big and hot and we renegotiated with the labels, he said, you're still on board with me. So that's
nice.
You don't find that all the time, right? You don't find that one hangs with you through the success.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
And I'm out of here, right? And Mandy broke through about a year and a half later. And we had like 18 top 10 singles in a row. And I was very proud of those records too. We took a lot of time with the productions. We made sure we the best songs that were available. Barry wrote half, and we found others from outside. With the help of the president.
Was Clyde involved with any of this?
Oh, yes. Clive gave us Mandy. At the beginning, we were looking for songs to record. He gave us a song called Brandy. I both said, Brandy has already been done.
Right.
So Barry, I think, changed the name right on the session. He said, we'll call it Mandy. And he did a live vocal, and that's the one that's on the record. But Clive was great. He came in the studio over a 10-year period, maybe twice, to see us. All the other times, just let us go. He said, all right, bring me what you're doing. I'll funnel in some songs for you. Barry will write some songs. So Barry wrote, Even Now and Copacabana.
Right.
Wonderful songs. It's a Miracle. So we had a great run. It was a great run. He'll once the plague is over, he'll be performing again.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I tell you.
I was going to say real quick while we were speaking about Mandy and the Copacabana. I remember on the Fresh Prince, you know, Carlton used to do a lot of that material that, you know, which kind of at first, you know,
Right.
me being a generation or so after the fact, that's what first kind of got me, got my ear as far as Barry was concerned, you know. So I just wanted to throw that in there real quick.
Well, I think we do have, well, I know we have some commercial clips.
Yes, let's get to it.
Some of the commercials, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. The
Let's hear
commercial.
'em.
I'd like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. I'd like to buy the world a Coke and keep it company. Say it's the real thing. Coke is, that's the way it should be. I'm a pepper, you're a pepper, he's a pepper, she's a pepper. Wouldn't you like to be a pepper too? Be a pepper, drink Dr. Pepper. All right, be a pepper, drink. Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. Almond Joy's got nuts, mountains don't. Sometimes you feel like a nut. Here comes the king, here comes the king, here comes the big number one. When you say Budweiser, you said it all. And now the national anthem of commercials. You've all heard this one. This is the big one. It's you deserve a break today. So get up and get away to McDonald's.
You have a whole show of commercials.
Yeah, we just played about $1 million. We
Yeah.
just played about $1 million worth of jingles there.
That's awesome.
Wait,
That is so
what?
awesome.
What you mean? You mean $1 billion?
Yeah. I was trying to lowball.
Yeah.
Thank you, residuals. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, gotta love it. Gotta love it.
I love that.
Yeah. So Ron, you also have 2 Tony Awards, one for Ain't Misbehaving and Children of a Lesser God.
Yes.
Mm.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was your Broadway experience like? And well, first, what led you up to the Broadway experience, and tell us what your Broadway experience was like.
Well, yeah, I worked, you in New York City. If you've been to the studios, they're all in the theater district. So I always liked shows. I loved musicals. I was always hoping that some way I could get in. I wrote a Broadway show when I was a kid called Billy, which was based on the novel Billy Budd, as a rock opera. It didn't do very well. It got killed in the Times. But I wanted to be involved in Broadway. So about 10 years after that, a good friend of mine I met at a party named James Lipton, who just passed away from the Actors Studio. He said to me, would you like to be involved in producing shows, put some money in? And I told him, absolutely. So he gave me a script. It was called The Mighty Gents. The Mighty Gents was about a street gang in Harlem. And it was Morgan Freeman's first role. And he got a great role. But the show didn't succeed. It wasn't a big hit. So Jim came to me a second time and said, would you like to be involved in Ain't Misbehaving? So I went to see it at the Manhattan Theater Club in New York City. And just Nell Carter and Ken Page and Andre DeShields. Even Irene Cara was in the cast at that time, but she decided not to do the show. So I said, I'm in. I just love Fats Waller, and these performances. It's so moving. So I got involved in theater, and of course, it won the Tony for Best Musical. Nell Carter won for Best Actress, singer in a musical. It's a great experience. It's a whole different world than the music business.
Yeah.
The theater owners run the show. They've owned the theaters. They book it. They get a piece of the show. So you got to deal with them. And if it fails, you have to pay to get the show out of there.
Man, is that right?
Yeah. When my first show failed, they said, well, now it's going to cost you $50,000 to go burn the sets. I said, what? Can I keep the sets? No, the laws you got to burn the set. All right, 50 grand. So I make friends with the Schuberts and the people who own the Schuberts theaters, and Manny Eisenberg, who was a very, very famous theater producer. So we did about 12 to 13 shows together. I backed a bunch of shows that some of them were successful, some not. But it's a big gamble. Theater's like music. You know, you got to get something where lightning strikes. You'll hit
Absolutely.
right, and then
Yeah.
you're off and running. But it's a luck. It's a luck of the draw sometimes. I just try to always do quality on Broadway.
Hmm.
And I love theater. Theater's great. Live theaters are, you know, just like live shows. It's electric when it
Yeah.
works, and the audience loves it. You feel it, right?
Yeah.
Experience
So-
on Broadway.
Yeah. So that makes us feel like, is there anything that you haven't done?
Well, I've done a bunch. You know,
Of course.
I've always said, you know, try something new, but keep your base. You know, work from your base, work from your strengths, and keep embellishing those if you can. And I've been very fortunate. I've known good people who have come up with good ideas, and when I heard a good idea, I took it. And you just have to keep doing that. Like, you know, opportunity will keep coming. It's amazing.
Right.
A few years ago, I was on the Happy Together tour with the Turtles and the Association, the Grassroots, these groups, and I was the opening act. And the following year, I thought they'd ask me to come back, but no, they said, "Listen, we want you to be the lead of the Turtles."
Oh.
Wow! I said, I get to sing, so I go from the opening act to the closing act. I become
Right.
God struck and said, "Listen, you work hard, you work good. Here's a gift." And so that's what I
Absolutely.
did for 2 years. I was the lead of the Turtles, singing "Happy Together" on these tours. So
Nice.
and stuff, of course. But
Yeah.
I've been very fortunate, you know, and we're lucky we're all still here. We all still
Yes.
look good. You know,
Yes.
Yeah,
you know.
Fantastic.
that's
Ron,
great.
You did another play, Children of a Lesser God.
Yes.
Yes. Talk about that a little bit.
Children. It was based on a great book or something about a teacher at a deaf university who falls in love with his student, and it became a film. But at first, it was a play, and it
Right.
wasn't physical. And it's funny. It's one of those times when they came to me. They said, "You interested?" I saw it. I went from New York to LA, and I saw it at the Mark Taper Forum here in Los Angeles. And halfway through the show, I called my friend in New York. I said, "I'm in. Let's produce it for Broadway." And it was. You have to tell you, don't take advice from all your friends. All my friends said nobody wants to see a show like this.
Mhm.
I said, "Well, what about The Miracle Worker?" You know, that was a great play and became a great movie. I said, "Why not this?" I said, I believe in this. So against my friend's advice, I invested and became a producer of it. And of course, it became a Tony Award winning show, won 3
Yes.
Tonys.
Yes.
A very lovely movie with Marley Matlin. So it's one of those happenstances where you just, you know, you have to go with your gut reaction, and sometimes you have to really take a flyer. And that was what happened with Children of a Lesser God. Again,
Okay.
I'm very proud of that because that was one of my first non-musicals.
Well, it looks like in addition to all of that, you were also a publisher of a magazine called Paris Review. And I looked that magazine up. It is a famous literary that features original art, which I love, original writings, right? I saw some of those posters. They were so eclectic. They went year by, decade by decade. I understand that this was a magazine that was started in like 1953. Was that George Plimpton from out of Paris? He worked in his basement, it looked like, and then it went from Paris to New York. But the magazine is still around, correct? Because I signed up for it.
It's a great literary magazine. They were
Yeah.
the first ones to get interviews. Interviews were some of the prime things they did with Ernest Hemingway, who never did interviews. My friend George Plimpton, I have to tell you, George Plimpton, who owned the magazine, was my next door neighbor in New York City.
Wow.
And we became fast friends one night when his wife lit the apartment on fire, waxing her eyebrows. So
Wow.
my wife and I rushed in. We helped him get his baby out, his wife out, put the fire out. And George and I became fast friends. He had a huge pool table. And every Sunday he would challenge me to a game of pool. So I was in town. I would come over and I'd play him. and he, he was just great. But I would beat him because I grew up playing pool, right?
Yeah.
So one night he says, we've lost our finances for the magazine, and we're going to have to close. He said, "Are you interested in becoming the publisher?" I said, "Well, okay." He said, "I'll play you for it."
Ah,
Well, what do I know he's not going to beat me. He
Right.
beat 3 games in a row. That was it. I became the publisher of the Paris Review, which I was very proud of.
Nice.
George knew everybody. George would have a party, and there'll be Ed Kennedy would be there, and Jackie Onassis, and Woody Allen.
Oh, wow.
Muhammad Ali would be there, and it's amazing. You got to meet everybody through the magazine party. So
Mhm.
that's the best part of it. And it was a great magazine. It's still out, and they do great interviews. They give young artists a chance to show what they can do in poetry.
That's awesome.
So it was a great ride, I must say. I once played piano for George's birthday party, right? And this guy comes over in a white suit, drunker than a skunk, and says, "Play Yellow Bird." Who are you? He said, "My name is Tennessee Williams."
oh,
Right? He was the great
Yeah.
writer. This guy from the South, a wonderful guy, and things like that always happened. At George's parties, they were the best.
Yeah.
Wow.
Cool, man.
So
Well, speaking of great ride, they named a winning thoroughbred horse Paris Review. Some guy,
wow.
some guy from the UK.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
That's
so anyway, just wanted to throw that tidbit.
Yes, indeed.
that's a good one. That's
Right?
homework.
So you work with a lot of male artists. Then all of a sudden you start working with Cher and Pat Benatar.
Yeah, well, I was very fortunate. A friend of mine named Charlie Koppelman had that's me and Pat Benatar in the studio. That's Paul Schaefer right above me.
Yeah.
To our drummer and Alan Schwartzberg. If you see the guy in the back looking kind of over his shoulder,
Yeah.
that's Pat's husband who's on the way out. It didn't last. Pat was a dream to work with. Good girl. They asked me to come down. Chrysalis Records asked me to come down to a club in New York and see her perform. My friend Jim Kerr, who was on PLJ at the time, came with me. A DJ friend. He actually put me in touch with him. And I heard her sing. She sang 2 or 3 ballads. I said, I do a lot of ballads with Manilow. Then she did "You Better Run." This song, "You Better Run" by the old Rascals. And I love that song. I said, well, she can rock. So I took her in studio, and we did 1 ballad. We did 2 rock and rollers, "Heartbreaker" and "You Better Run," which became her first couple of singles. And
Nice.
She was easy to work with. She did get a little stiff in front of the microphone.
Really?
First time people, when you bring them in, they say they can do it, but they get stiff in the mic. So I built a little stage, little stage for her, a spotlight, and I invited some people in while we did her vocal, and she came alive.
Oh, nice.
It was a lot of fun to work with. Of course.
What about with Cher? Yeah.
Cher was a dream. It's like working with the Statue of Liberty, though. She's like bigger than life. We all grew up with Cher on TV and in movies, Academy Awards. She was a dream. We did 5-6 cuts together for her "Take Me Home" album, and she would come in 11 o'clock in the morning with a bunch of Coors beer, and she would all day until 6, and she was loose. She sang beautifully. She did anything I wanted her to do. I even encouraged her to write a song. She wrote a song for her ex-husband, Greg Allman, called "Too Far Gone," which is a life story of her and Greg, and we had the best vocals. But she was adorable to work with, and she would take me home at night to a place in Malibu, and play me videos that she wanted to do and shows she wanted to put on Broadway, because she knew I was involved on Broadway. She said, "I want to do films. I want to get into Broadway," and she was just great. I must say, seems like the bigger they are, the nicer they are.
That's what I hear.
Lots of people. I worked a lot from John Denver to Dionne Warwick to even Ray. I worked with Ray Charles on 3 cuts. And I wanted to tell you that the first session I did with him, I had 36 players in the studio. The whole
Wow.
lot, strings, horns, everybody, right? And
Yeah.
Ray walks in, and I've never seen this. The entire orchestra got up and applauded him.
Oh man.
Such respect. You've never seen
Yeah.
such respect. It was amazing. I've had some amazing times in the studio, but that was one of them too.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, Ron, you touched earlier briefly about the Happy Together tour. Give us elaborate just a little more and tell us some of the artists that you work with on that tour. It looks like a stage full of people right here.
Yeah. It's a group. It's Gary Puckett and the Union Gap. It's the Association. It's the Cowsills. It's Mark Lindsay from Paul Revere and the Raiders.
Uh-huh.
So we had a pretty all hits all night. You're not allowed to do anything that wasn't a hit.
Yeah.
That's and when you've got 5 or 6 acts, it can be filled in because we all did about 25 minutes, and the package sells out. People love to come to this one mainly because you get all the hits, and band leader Godfrey Townsend has been the band leader for many years. He emulates the exact record, whatever that key was, whatever the arrangement was, he gives it to you. And
Nice. That's important.
We're not going to do it the new version. We're going to do it the digital version.
Yeah.
And that makes us happy for that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I hear it's booked. It's all booked up for next summer. All the dates
That's great.
Few are rescheduled for maybe this
Uh-huh.
I don't know for sure, but I do know next summer will be a hot summer for all of us.
Yes.
Can't keep a good crowd
Yeah,
down.
you're right. It
They're
sure
coming
will.
to see us.
Yeah.
We've got the hits.
Yeah. You definitely have them.
Yeah, buddy.
We have a video of Jingle Jangle that we can play for you if you don't mind, sir.
No. This has been one of the nicest interviews. I love the things that you pulled up for the interview. It's very enjoyable.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. And we're gonna have a Q&A session in just a little bit with the viewers. Let them interact with you in just a little while as well. But let's get into that video.
Okay. There I go.
We're coming to the next show. That's great.
Yeah, it's definitely some feel-good tunes, man.
Yeah.
All right, I think it's. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ron. I'm sorry.
Lots of fun. I gotta tell you though, those leather pants, you can't wear them all summer.
You got sweat a little bit, huh?
Outdoor venues get hot, right?
Yes,
Yep,
it did.
that's right.
Yes, it did. Well, Ron, are you ready? Are you ready to take a few questions from our audience at home?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so it's they can see the questions too.
Absolutely.
The biggest impression, I have to say, had to be Manilow, because he was a consummate arranger, singer, and a co-producer with me. That had to be like one of the biggest things. Otherwise, other people who came into my life, I really loved working with Dionne Warwick and Pat Benatar. I thought both of them made an impression as their work ethic was perfect. I mean, they showed up, they did their job, and they sang beautifully, So, but everybody had an impression. I got to tell you, you know it. Every time you work with somebody, you get something off. And you get a little bit of what's
energy
in their mind, the way they approach their work ethic, and their
absolutely.
also you get to see how talented they are. You know, you think you see it on the screen, you hear it on records and stuff, but when you see it in person, when you're in a room with them and they're creating as you go along, you say, "Oh,
Right.
they
Yeah,
are."
that's the magic.
Yeah, the magic gift. Yeah, so that's
Yes.
got to be it. Yeah,
All right.
yeah. So this one's about the Archie CD project.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be half cuts that I did as a soloist and as a group, and the other half of the CD is going to be some unreleased Archie stuff from the Archie series. Some Dan. It's going to be almost Ron Dante animated. So
Okay.
the cover is going to be this.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Nice. You kind of favor it a little bit. You resemble.
This was done by a guy, Dan DiCarlo, who does the Archie covers.
Oh, okay.
Here's a picture of me in my prime. Make me a cartoon. So he did.
Oh, so okay. I was in the ballpark with that.
Yeah, my nose, you know, my eyes.
Yeah.
So, you know, so it's going to be out this September. It's going to be called Ron Dante's Fun House.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's going to be a lot of fun animated stuff. I also did 2 other animated series. One was called Spider-Man. I was the voice of Spider-Man.
I read that.
A rock comic called Beyond the Grave. It was a radio show with actors, and then there was 4 or 5 songs in it that Spider-Man sings. I was the voice of Spider-Man. So we're put a couple of those cuts on, and then we're going to put a couple of cuts on from my Asian America TV series called The Amazing Chan and the Chan Clan.
The Chan Clan. I saw that. Okay.
I saw that.
Charlie had a group of kids who were a band. And so I did the voice of the Chan Clan. You know?
Cool.
I wrote a bunch of songs for it. So we're going to put a few of those on there that people might not have heard.
Okay.
It's fun. Anyway, what's this? A Beach Boy fan and a Manilow.
Yeah. Let's see. I'll read it real quick. Ron, I'm a big Beach Boys fan, and Manilow covered Bruce Johnston's song, I Write the Songs. Whose decision was it for Barry to record that song, and was there any communication with Bruce regarding the cover? Bruce was also an incredible producer, and they won a Grammy for that song. Thanks.
Yes. This was I Write the Songs was already a hit or recorded by David Cassidy. And who else recorded it? The Captain and Tennille had a version. So Clive Davis, our record company president, would every time we were going to go into the studio to do an album, he'd give us a bunch of songs. Say, you know, what do you think? And Barry and I both gravitated to I Write the Songs. Although Barry said to me at the time, the critics are going to kill me if this is a hit and I didn't write it. They're going to murder me. I said, yeah, but it's going to be a monster hit. And it was. And he never regretted doing it. We didn't contact Bruce at the time. Bruce and I consequently became friends. And I noticed the night he won the Grammy for a Song of the Year, he was thrilled that he said, thank you very much for recording my song again and making it the hit. And I always loved that song. That kind of ends Barry's show. I mean, it's like one of the high points of the Manilow show is I Write the Songs because the audience goes crazy. You know, it's just one of those big modulating ballads that keep, you know, we put a modulation in every song.
It gives it, it keeps it.
We would remodulate everything.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Oh, we got another one. Okay. Ron, did you ever work with the Mighty OJs? This is from Hattie Rogers.
Yeah. No, unfortunately, no. I would love to, but I didn't.
All right. I got one here. This is from Colton Thomas. Ron, do you remember playing a show in Portland, Oregon back in 1969? My dad was hitchhiking back from his Army physical, and you guys picked him up in the Archie's tour van.
Wow.
I don't know about that. I have to admit there was never an Archie's van. So he may have been picked up by somebody who said they were the Archies. Because we didn't tour the Archies. They always stayed in tune. So there were about 3 or 4 bogus bands on the road.
Oh, it might have been one of the bogus ones.
Yeah, and they were taking advantage of the fact that there was no group out there, and they were paid to sing Sugar Sugar. But I hope they were nice to him.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Let's see. We take a couple more.
Yes, I see one that's really, really interesting by Beach Boy 1983.
Yeah, I think we covered that one, did we not?
Did we?
Yeah, I think he was on a YouTube account and then went to a Facebook account, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's the same one.
Mm.
Linda Sue Lane says, "Were you part of the Happy Together show with Tommy? Tommy James and the Shondells. When you mentioned the Mob, it reminded me of his me, the Mob, and the music."
Yeah, no, I was not on that tour with Tommy James when he did that, but Tommy's a good friend of mine. We were both on the same label, Roulette Records, which was like the Mob Records company.
Okay.
You get paid from those guys. Tommy James told me a story. He had to go up to the president and say, "Listen, my dad's a little sick. I need some money." So we'd give him $10,000, but he'd never pay the royalties. Tommy always had to make up stories to get paid. But,
wow.
But I hear Tommy's doing a Broadway musical and a feature film based on his book, which facts will come out. And
nice.
Tommy's got a great show. I mean,
yeah.
If you ever catch a great Tommy James show, he's a fine performer, still sings in the same keys. And
fantastic.
We actually, Chairman of the Board actually did a show with him down in Florida some years back.
Yeah. He works. He likes to work. He gets out there.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Okay, Miss Marissa. Ooh, goodness, Corey. Yeah, you got to forgive me, Lucas. Wow, I'm learning a lot about you tonight, Ron. Fantastic.
I have to give credit to you guys for doing your homework. Those great clips. That a lot of people have not seen those clips, so it really ties my whole life together. And so I appreciate what you have done, and I'm glad everybody's having a good time. You know, at least it shows I've touched a lot of people and a lot.
Yes,
of
indeed.
The music business and theater. So I've been very fortunate, very blessed.
Yes, indeed.
I know it's not my car; it's God's car.
Right, it's a passenger.
Yeah.
You spoke about the gentleman Andy earlier. I forget what his actual last name was. We little mix up, but I saw Neil ask again. He just wanted to confirm if there was a co-writer for Sugar Sugar.
Oh yeah,
yes.
The co-writer was Andy Kim.
Okay, Andy Kim.
Yeah, Andy Kim, Canadian. He also had a #1 record in 1974-75 called "Rock Me Gently."
Okay,
absolutely.
And he had a few hits in the 60s, right around the time of the Archies. He was being produced by the same producer, Jeff Barry.
Okay.
He was a hit maker. He's unbelievable. But Andy's a great guy. Lives in Toronto. And he comes out and tours sometimes. You'll see him in a few weeks.
Okay.
Story.
Yeah.
More?
Thomas Price says, "Will your Street Angel album ever come out on CD?"
Yes, actually, it's being prepared right now by a firm in Tokyo called Cool Sounds. Cool Sounds in Tokyo is preparing a September release in October and a CD of it and vinyl.
Okay.
So people will be able to finally see my Street Angel album, which was so funny. Street Angel was the song off the album that was written by a guy named Richard Kerr and Scott English. And the reason I recorded it because Scott English wrote Mandy. So I was trying to tie all these things together. Get a little luck from Mandy.
Gotcha. Our good buddy, Mr. Charles Chuck Etcherson, asked, who wrote Good Vibrations?
Yeah. To my knowledge, it was Brian Wilson.
Right.
I think the guys in the group contributed some ba-ba-bas and some backgrounds that made the song a big hit. But Brian was the main songwriter, I think, and it was unbelievable. Good Vibrations was one of the best pop records of that decade. I mean,
my God, yes.
I heard it was done in 3 different stages, 2 different studios. And
wow.
He clumped them together.
Yes, indeed, man. Somebody, Thomas Price says, "Love you, Ron Dante."
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Rock Me Gently. Mr. Neil Dugan says, "Rock Me Gently" was a #1 here in the UK. It's a beautiful tune.
It's great. I love it so much. I re-recorded it with Andy Kim singing background for me. But you know how the music business works. When Andy Kim originally recorded that on his own money, took it around to a few labels. They all turned them down. They said, "Oh, this is not a big hit record. You've gone through it, right?" And he finally got somebody at Capitol Records said, "Well, we'll give it a try because you seem to be selling it on your own label in Canada."
Yeah.
And it was #1 UK, and so it's one of those great success stories.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I think that may be all of the questions that we have.
I have one.
Okay.
I have a trivia question.
A trivia question.
Did I understand that you recorded Give Me Just a Little More Time as well?
Oh, okay. You got to play a little piece of that.
It's got to be here somewhere. I think it went off. I love the song so much.
I do too.
I did my own version of it.
Which is a Chairman of the Board tune.
Yeah. I'll try to get it up for you. If you have a minute.
Yeah, no problem. We got time.
In the meantime, we want to thank our behind-the-scenes producer for researching and grabbing all those great clips that you spoke of, Ron.
Yes,
absolutely.
Miss Tazz Cole.
She brings it all to life.
Great.
Yes.
Don't get impatient, though we may be. There's no need to act foolishly.
Yeah.
Harmony.
Nice.
Years from now, it should be regretted.
Oh, nice little change.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice.
Give me just a little more time.
Uh-oh.
Nice, Ron.
Yeah.
Song, no matter what.
Yeah, man, I tell you.
Anybody could do that today and have a hit with that again. That kind of arrangement would work. Everybody needs more time.
Well,
Yes, indeed.
that's a great trivia question for the audience now. No one knew that. We didn't know until today.
That's right.
Awesome.
Yeah. Always one of my favorite songs. A hit song is like magic.
It is.
Recorded many times. It's
Yes.
just like Groovy Kind of Love was a hit in the 60s, in the 90s. Certain things come back around. So you never can tell.
Yep.
Very true. Very true. Yes. Well, we'd like to thank our ladies and gentlemen at home who tuned in tonight for supporting us. I want to thank my co-hosts, again, the lovely Miss Shelly Clark White, the legendary Mr. Ken Knox, and last but not least, thank you, Mr. Ron Dante, for joining us this evening.
Man.
It's been a wonderful experience.
Thank you. Thank you for taking the time. It was my honor.
A pleasure.
Thank you so much, Ron. Well,
Ron?
let everybody know that next Thursday we have the lead singer from the Dazz Band, Mr. I think it's
Mr. Jerry. That's right.
Jerry Bell.
Yeah. So we're gonna let it whip.
We're gonna let it whip.
When
Yeah.
Jerry Bell from the Dazz Band comes on next Thursday, don't forget to subscribe and like our channel. And Ron, thank you so much, man. A lot of history sits in that square right there.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And Ron, where can we find you on social media?
Social media works for us. We got to make it work.
Yeah.
Where can we find you on social media?
You can find me at rondante.com.
Okay.
I have two Facebook sites. Just look for me in a red jacket and come on in and visit. So I go on every day to check things out. I'm always putting up new stuff, and I like to keep in touch with the fans.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, folks, don't forget, once again, Ken just said, but I just want to reiterate, make sure you go over to YouTube, like and subscribe to our official Chairman of the Board page. We appreciate you so much. Once you like, you subscribe, you'll get that content hot out the oven before all of your other friends get it, and you can be the cool person on the block with the new content. As usual, we thank you all so much for your support. Thank you for tuning in, especially this week. We did 2 shows, and a lot of your names we saw yesterday as well as today. We thank you so much. God bless you. Y'all stay safe. We'll see you next week for episode 13. Mr. Jerry Bell. Good night, all.
Good night. Good night.
Hey,